Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
I'm on your hot 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show. It's time for another edition of the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show. Right here on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9. I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Call. Let us hear from you this morning on this Wildcard Wednesday. It is up to you. I look for your titles, your topics, your conversation. But I got a few things to throw out there that may be off the beaten path. Some things that maybe we want to get back to. Joe, and maybe he was looking prophetically into what Nick Saban was looking for. Maybe he had an inside source. I'm gonna find out if Joe had an inside source or not on a move that's recently been announced as well. But we're open to your conversation this morning, so give us a call. As I said, at 209-9904, the Taco Casa hotline. Also, communicate at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter, Houston Live on Facebook. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Let's kind of look through the playbook and see what some of the topics we can talk about, and then we'll dig into one or two of those. Landon Dickerson is the guy, a miracle worker. Is he ahead of schedule? He found his way onto the practice field at mini camp. Those guys that's just destined to be, an impact player. We didn't, of course, have him in the conversation as Rookie of the Year, but maybe he makes as much noise or surprise noise out of this Alabama class. On track to be back, full speed without a doubt. And former Alabama defensive back headed to Georgia. Okay, good move for him. Good pickup for Kirby Smart. We'll talk about that transfer. Greg McElroy, is he legit in his statement against Tim Tebow? Is it jealousy? Is it a combination of both? Making a statement that it's a sideshow. And when he made the statement, he was laughing. So, or is that just angst? Or is he giving us insight into the potential move of Tim Tebow headed down to the Jacksonville Jaguars? I asked a question last week. Do the Alabama fans love Tim Tebow enough to pull for him, or hate Urban Meyer as much or more than they love Tim Tebow? Another question you got to that, is Greg McElroy one of the most disliked former Alabama players? Does he go overboard? How you feel about Greg McElroy? All of that is up for grabs as part of the conversation. Also, looking at the mock draft for rookies. Who's the top rookies when it comes to the mock draft? Can kind of surprising. No quarterback in that list off the top 5, but we'll see if you want to talk about that and see who's in that list. Joe, I want to ask you, Alabama getting a punter in the transfer portal. You said that they should go after. You said not go after. You said if you're Nick Saban, one of your top 5 positions was punter, and the punter from Georgia. Alabama didn't go to Georgia to get a punter, but they did go to an in-state school and got Jack Martin. After 2 seasons at Troy, Jack Martin is transferring to the Crimson Tide, a Dothan native. What you think? Good move? Big time pickup? And did you have a little inside scoop that may be where Nick Saban was?
Well, actually, Nick Saban is an avid reader of mine, so I was trying to put him on that track that we needed to maybe upgrade the punter position as I was looking at positions maybe of a little weakness for the Crimson Tide. Not weakness, but not necessarily strength per se. And so, yeah, it's a great move. I believe wasn't he a Sun Belt Specialist of the Year?
Yes.
So it's a great move. Anytime that you can your special teams room. A lot of people, it's the forgotten phase of football, but it's extremely important. And for us wanting to have a really great defense this coming year, a great punter is a great start for that.
And what's interesting is in 2019, he's played in 23 games. Talking about Jack Martin, in 23 games. In 2019, he focused on kickoffs. So, and we know that getting our kicker off of kickoff may be a good thing. So maybe he helps with 46.1 yards a punt, long of 66, and was first team all Sun Belt in terms of what's going on. He entered the portal back in late April. So this was not just a recent thing in terms of him looking, but maybe, just maybe, Nick Saban read Joe's article and listened to the show last week when we talked about it, Joe. But what a good move in terms of Alabama getting better. And once again, I hope no one hears me saying I don't like the transfer rule and I don't like the one-time play for free without waiting rule as well. I just don't know if I like the timing. But, Joe, this is one of those cases where I'm excited about the rule. Here's a kid from Dothan, Alabama. I don't know his story, but chances are he probably dreamed of growing up playing for Alabama, right? And didn't have an opportunity, goes off to college, proves himself, and now he gets an opportunity to play for his in-state school. I love that side of the rule in terms of an opportunity to play for your hometown school. But once again, Joe, the other side of that is, what does Troy do now? This late in the game, they just went through a whole spring. And of course, he, like I said, he put his name in the transfer portal, so he may or may not have participated in spring. But late, I think, was after spring, he entered the transfer, but I'm not sure about that.
Well, they may come up to Tuscaloosa and ask Charlie Scott or one of our punters if they want to come down and swap with them real quick to fill that position of need. He's been in the transfer portal for a minute. I think Troy might, have been on that it's going to be a need for them, but it's unfortunate. It's part of the haves and the have-nots. It's part of really society. You've proven yourself at a lower level. In the workforce, usually better opportunities come along for you. And this fellow Jack Martin, he's taking advantage of some of the best, some of those better opportunities that have come along for him.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't begrudge him. The timing of the rule is still my issue. and the fact that these coaches did not have any time to prepare for the rule changing. If this had been this time next year, you would had a whole year to know that guys can now ultimately just jump into the transfer portal and go play for free. But you're gonna see more guys go in, but that's part of it. Coaches adjust, coaches make room. Nick Saban lost Turnage to Georgia. Former Alabama Crimson Tide cornerback Brandon Turnage had entered the transfer portal a little over a week ago. Announced on Friday evening that he will transfer to Georgia. So, kudos to him. Hope things work out. He was from Oxford, Mississippi, ranked as the 11th best cornerback in the class, 102 best overall player in terms of that. He is one of 6 players who have entered the portal since the end of the season. Guys out there that have either committed or still out there looking. Ronald Williams, of course, he ended up at Michigan State. Safety Eddie Smith, Joseph Bulovas, and linebackers Ali Cahoe and Ben Davis, of course, who is at Texas. Turnage, good move by him, Joe. What do you think?
Well, he goes to a system where, obviously it's going to be the same defensive system with Kirby Smart that he's been in at Alabama the last 2 seasons. He might also be one of the guys that's looking down and seeing JaQuincy McKinstry and seeing Kyrie Jackson come into the program and thinking to himself, man, I need to either step up or step out. And he decided to go step out. Georgia is having a little bit of corner issue. They've got a redshirt freshman who's looking to start. So they've got a little bit of a depth issue at corner. They just converted a running back to play corner in the springtime. So they've got a little issue with corner, with injury. So there's an opportunity for Brandon Turnage to start and make an impact in Athens. Personally, I kind of I don't like it because it's Georgia, but I hope that he does well for himself, and I think it's probably a place where he can get on the field pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I think once again for the kid, he probably saw himself instead of rise up the depth chart through spring practice, he probably saw himself either stay stagnant or fall down the depth chart after his first spring. Even though he was on the team last year, this was his first spring practice. And he didn't rise any, and now he has a chance to go over. And probably worst case, Joe, at Georgia, he's going to be exactly the same spot on the depth chart, maybe even closer. Maybe even if he doesn't start, he may get into the nickel package, etc. And you pointed out both DBs have gone to former Alabama defensive coordinators, right? Ronald Williams is going to play for Mel Tucker up at Michigan State. He spent a little time with Nick Saban, who also spent time with Kirby Smart. And then, of course, Turnage going to Georgia. So these guys are able to make a transition. Ben Davis was an defensive guy, but he went home with a former Alabama assistant, Steve Sarkisian. So is that going to kind of be the thing there? Maybe Nick Saban may be helping these guys, Joe, land and find a good landing spot. Who knows? I would not be surprised with Nick Saban helping these guys, even if it from us, our fan standpoint. Don't send them to Georgia, standpoint. Maybe Nick Saban is helping these guys pursue what he promised his parents he would help them pursue. Championships, not going to happen unless you're at Alabama, but pursue that degree and become a better young man. So congratulations to him. Other conversation, it's a Wildcard Wednesday. You can get in on it. A couple people are commenting on the Tim Tebow, Urban Meyer, and now G-Mac conversation. We'll talk about that. If you want to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 205-342-9904.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Traffic pretty quiet on this Wednesday morning. If you do see conditions throughout the day, give us a call, 205-886-8886. Other dealers may be out of inventory, but Townsend Nissan has an awesome selection. And yes, they really want your trade. Townsend Nissan, I'm Captain Ray.
Gotta finish this today.
Cristiano's construction projects typically run smoothly, but this project's pipeline is about to burst.
So, boss, where do you want us to put this? To the left. Your other left. John.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
With Taco Casa, it's not really fast food because it's made fresh every day in the store. The quality hasn't changed. The consistency hasn't changed because we haven't changed anything in the food. It's made fresh every morning in every restaurant. I think buzzwords in today's food industry are locally sourced and high quality ingredients. Sounds great. We've been doing that since 1974. Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa.
Tuscaloosa Tire and Service. They've got the big brands you know and trust. Goodyear, Firestone, Bridgestone, Cooper, and they can finance for you as well. When you need routine maintenance and alignment, a tune-up, whatever it is, belts, hoses, just basic stuff, or when you don't know what's wrong with your car, truck, or SUV, make it Tuscaloosa Tire and Service. They're dependable, they're trustworthy. That's why they've lasted for over 36 years. Skyland Boulevard, McFarland Boulevard East in Northport on Lurleen Wallace Boulevard. Check out the website, TuscaloosaTireandService.com.
Sorry to interrupt your jams, murder mystery podcasts, or motivational beach noises, but we got something else you might like to hear. It's called cash. That's the sound of an extra $250 after your first 10 deliveries with Uber Eats. That's right, an extra $250 on top of all the other cash you'll make during those first 10 deliveries. If that sounds good, visit t.uber.com/extra 250. Uber Eats, deliver with us. Limited time offer, terms apply. See t.uber.com/extra 250 for more details.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A partly sunny sky today, Tuscaloosa high 83. For tonight, fair with the low at 64. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny, the high 85. And Friday, a good supply of sunshine. The warming trend continues, the high at 88. I'm James Spain of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Starting on 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. C.J. Watson commenting, 46 plus yards per punt is significant. Think about that for a second. you don't really think about how big of a deal the punter is until he's not, Joe. And I can remember Coach Stallings, philosophy was always try to make them go 80 yards or more every drive if you have an opportunity. And if you're averaging 46 yards a punt, that's 4.5 first downs every punt. Okay. So when you start thinking about it that way, when you start adding up total punt yards in a game, even though Alabama doesn't punt it very often, this year the punter may have a bigger role than what we've had in the past. Joe, do you think it's possible that I thought that was a great catch by you thinking we needed a punter. Our punter has played such a limited role because of our offensive efficiency the last couple of years. Early on in the year, do you think our punter may have a bigger role with the young offense, new coordinators, new players, etc.?
Probably bigger for sure, bigger than last year because like you mentioned, last year and the year prior we hardly punted at all. So I would say yes, it's going to be bigger for sure. And it's important to I don't know, Martin. I feel a little frustrated over the last couple of years, kind of having that experimental punter position. Obviously, you understand you got to work out guys and figure out what your personnel is. But it just seemed like that position, ever since J.K. Scott has left for the NFL, has been kind of a revolving door of mediocrity. And so maybe you bring in a guy who's proven. A guy who has college experience and a guy who's done it, not on a huge stage, but doing it at a decently high level. I think it's a great move for Coach Saban to both put pressure on that position group and both to add some insurance to his roster.
Yeah, and when you think about this, and I don't ever want to blame one play necessarily on a game. I mean, on losing a game, but how big was the year Tua's last year here with us, the LSU game? How big a role did punting play in setting the stage for that game to get out of hand in the first half? If you go back and look, we didn't do a good job punting, and then we also had the punt the drop snap, and it was just, you don't think about it, but how different is that game if we're getting a 46-yard punt every time and not giving them the ball in better field position and or dropping punts? Now, anybody could drop a punt no matter how great a punter, but when you add all that together, it gave LSU tremendous momentum. They took full advantage of it. And so I don't want to say that that's the reason we lost the game, but it in those moments it plays a big role. It's usually a really big role. All old Alabama fans remember Bama punt when Auburn got a couple block punts late in the game to win a game. So, and Nick Saban shoring up his roster, Joe, and that's what we said. We talked about it on Alabama Tradition last night, Ryan and I did, and it was pretty much if Nick Saban gets every offseason to recruit the best players for his future, as well as the best players that can come out can be immediately eligible immediately step on the field and help play like the Jai Halls of the world. And then he can spend after signing day, he can after the traditional signing day, Joe, he has another 3 months to go out and get any weakness he perceives in his roster by recruiting top-notch players that can immediately come in and play. Wow, I just don't see. He's going to be unstoppable if he's able to continue to do that. So.
Absolutely. You think about it, you get the best recruiter and the best coach in college football history a chance to go through go through recruiting and pick and choose some of the best players in the country, and then go through spring practice and say, I think I still have a hole here or there, and just Google the transfer portal, Coach Saban, and pick out your best guys. And you're right, it's going to really hurt the rest of college football.
I mean, I'm thinking, how long will this rule last? And of course, if they did something with the bump rule years ago, this rule becomes even more important or more critical. I know I said I wanted to talk about the Greg McElroy situation, but let's bring in Pat before we go there, because he may want to go a different direction on this Wildcard Wednesday. Good morning, Pat. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning. Hey, I just wanted to bring up that I think you're absolutely correct on that. Hey, we just made our punter 10+ yards more on each average punt. That even though we don't punt that much, 10 more yards That's another first down. That makes a major difference with the speed that we're going to have for gunners on the outside going down. Even if they don't make a tackle, that slows them down where everybody else can get down the field. Martin, this is an incredible weapon. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, I totally think it's one of those weapons that you don't really realize it until you add up the yards per game. Say we punt 5 times per game. That's 5 additional first downs over what we had last year. For the most part on an average. Or you start adding up how many yards. He literally, if we punt from the say we get the ball at the 25 and we don't get a first down. We're now at the 30. He's punting them almost to the other 30 every time. I mean, they're going to have to go 70 yards every time. And if we're punting, from the 40, all of a sudden you're pinning guys inside the 20. It's a weapon that changes. It even changes play calling. In terms of how you do things offensively, on third down, it can make you a little bit more, aggressive, in terms of what you do because you're able to, and it becomes, Joe, we hadn't talked about this, Pat, but we've talked about how good our defense is. Well, a punter is part of the defensive stats, right? I mean,
yes, sir.
If you're making a team go extra yards every time, then there sometimes there's a lot of dead yards when you look at the total. If we're having guys, Joe, didn't you say that the punter from, I think in your article, he punted the ball inside the 20, 50 times?
Yes, the Georgia punter. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Georgia punter. So think about that for a second, Pat. 50 times. So say the team inside the 20. So say that team gets, you do that and they get at least one first down on those drives. Well, they're still inside the 30 and punting back to you. So that's 500 yards of offense that really, what's the big deal? It's not that big of a deal if they're coming out of the their own 20 versus getting the ball at the 35 or the 40 and getting those first downs. All of a sudden now they're putting you deep and they're punting or they're in field goal range one first down sooner than they would have been otherwise when you add that. So he becomes a big time weapon if he's able to transfer up to this level and continue the consistency.
Yeah, well, that and that he can get over his fear of the fastest people in the entire NCAA coming in there to try to kill him.
Well, I don't think that Pat, actually, I think his jitters will come more from you guys, the fans, than the players. Remember, Troy already plays Division I, and he's gonna have more talent in front of him at punter than he's ever had protecting him. So, because Nick Saban, unlike a lot of coaches, Nick Saban puts starters on punt. So on the punt team, so he's going to have probably more talent protecting him than he's ever seen. And and I don't know what his net is, but he may actually improve his average this year with that. I was talking about the lights being too big, not the speed of the game.
Yeah. Hey, but one more quick question. Hey, you brought up Chad May. I think you're going in the right direction there. Adding Chad May to this offensive line could make it might even give Trey Sanders a shot at that Heisman. But it's definitely going to make Kamara Wheaton feel real good.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I'll have to give Joe that credit. He talking about Cade May, Joe. I'll let Joe respond to that because Joe was the one. I think it's a great fit. I think he has some of that Landon Dickerson esque quality, but I'll let Joe respond to to what he would mean to Alabama.
Yeah, Pat, you obviously want to add skill wherever you can. And Cade Mays is no stranger to the SEC. You look across our offensive line, and yeah, you got a lot of talent there, but you don't have a whole lot of experience. You got Chris Owens, but I don't know if Chris Owens quite has that nasty like Martin was just referring to. I know that Cade Mays does. If you can add him into that offensive line, replacing your Deontay Brown or Landon Dickerson spot in one of those two interior spots, I think you would do wonders for this Crimson Tide offense.
Yep. Did absolutely outstanding job on the recruiting effort today. Hey, y'all have a blessed day. And hey, it's just not going to be fair, fellas. It's not going to be fair. Y'all have a great one. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Our coaches laying awake at night right now. Joe, think about that for a second. I mean, if you're a coach, you're looking at Nick Saban, you're looking at your roster, and you're going, "Oh God, is he going to come after one of my players?" Because that's a hard ticket to stop. When you have a guy, Nick Saban has said, "We're going to go after the guys who are better than the guys we already have." That was his words. So he's not bringing anybody in to sit the bench in a transfer portal. According to his own statistic. And that's what he's going to tell these players. Hey, I'm coming after you because I believe you're better than who we have. What does that say to your current players? Tell them you better be working hard and taking care of your business. So not only is Nick Saban going to bring in better players, Joe, I think because he's come right out and said it publicly in front of the whole world for the whole world to see, including his own players, it's going to make those guys, you're talking about being focused and on point and, at your workouts and eating correctly and doing all of the other ancillary things that it takes to be a player here, because now Nick Saban has the freedom to go out and just replace you. Whoo! A lot of pressure on these young men. They chose the Alabama Crimson Tide. When you choose to be the best and play for the best, that comes with it, and we'll see how they handle it. Come back on the other side. We will get some conversation in, get Joe's thoughts on the Tim Tebow GMAC. Is GMAC fair in his assessment? Is he accurate? Is he jealous? What's your thoughts on that? And then we'll end the show with some Scotty Hollins, Johnson Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week. More conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show up next.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks, traffic moving well. The interstate looks good to Birmingham, and we do see some slow traffic McFarland westbound between 2059 and Hargrove. If you see other conditions, give us a call. Other dealers may be out of inventory, but Townsend Nissan has an awesome selection. And yes, they really want your trade. Townsend Nissan, I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Views Alto is the vape as unique as the back roads you ride. With Views by You, you can choose from 7 colors, 3 flavors, 3 nicotine levels, and infinite wrap designs. Make Views Alto a vape that is yours. In store now. Discover more at Views.com. Views. Charge beyond. Vapor products, underage sale prohibited. Website and offers restricted to age 21 and over tobacco consumers.
Townsend Nissan Tuscaloosa has a great supply of new cars, trucks, and SUVs in stock, and we're ready to find them a new home today. With offers like this, the hot new 2021 Nissan Kicks starting at only $19,990, and Pathfinders and Muranos discounted up to $5,000. Wow! And yes, Townsend Nissan wants that trade-in. We'll pay top dollar for it. And with pre-owned units starting at only $10,990, that's savings, folks. And yes, we have plenty of Frontiers and Titans in stock. You and Townsend Nissan, that's the makings of a great car deal.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama One Insurance. Alabama One Insurance, your one source for your insurance needs. Alabama One Insurance is an independent insurance agency. Let us do the shopping for you if you're looking for a great deal, trying to save some money on your premium, and or make sure that you're properly insured in case of an unforeseen incident. Then Alabama One Insurance can help you make sure that you're properly covered. We don't always guarantee the lowest rate, but you will be taken care of. That's Alabama One Insurance. Request a quote there or call us at 205-342-0112. Greg McElroy conversation. Joe, I give you a couple comments we've gotten. Care for Tebow personally. CJ Watson says the teams appreciate Tebow. Folks appreciate Tebow and root for him, but not Urban. He is easier to pull against by the day. And then Curtis Moore, CJ said, Curtis Moore II, G-Mac is playing his typical role as an analyst, the critic. Is that the typical analyst role, or is that just his personality coming out and creating who he is? Not all analysts are critical and negative, as G-Mac is sometimes perceived to be. CJ Watson, yeah, he's very diplomatic, too much in my opinion. And then CJ Watson responding back to that with Curtis Moore II agreed. His points in his statement were valid, however, but he is quick to be negative where you would expect him to provide positive feedback. Joe, have you seen or read any of the article of G-Mac talking about Tim Tebow, or heard the audio?
He called it a joke, did he not? He called him trying out for the NFL or getting back into the NFL a joke. Is that kind of what he said?
Yeah, pretty much. He said everyone is saying, oh, he's finally doing what he should have did 10 years ago. Y'all, we were with him on the Jets. They tried to switch him to tight end. He wasn't good. That's what people don't acknowledge. Oh, they'll just use him as Taysom Hill type player. Tim ran a 4.8. Taysom Hill runs a I don't know what Tim ran. I know Taysom Hill is an awesome ball player. I mean, they're just two totally different players. I don't necessarily agree with that. I disagree with that, actually. Tim is a good dude, and I hope the best for him. No, you don't, Greg. But this is the part that lets you know it may be a little personal, Joe. He said, but it's in parentheses in the article, because I didn't hear the audio, it says that he's laughing when he says this, but it's a sideshow. That's what it will become in training camp. I think it's kind of undercuts and undermines what Urban Meyer's trying to build. I'm not saying maybe he makes the team, maybe he doesn't, but it's going to take away from the task at hand, which is trying to put together the most competitive roster in camp. As a player that went through training camp with Tim Tebow, there's going to be players rolling their eyes at how much attention the 4th to 5th string tight end gets. Dang, he already put him at 4th to 5th string. It's going to piss people off. As a result, it's going to affect locker room chemistry like it did with us with the Jets. Not because there's animosity toward Tim, but there's animosity toward the coverage Tim receives. I think it's a stupid move. You're starting your tenure at Jacksonville. You're setting the tone, and people say he can help with leadership. Let me tell you what helps with leadership in NFL: money. You want guys to be incentivized? Pay them. Wow, that is such a narrow-minded view of what leadership is. I think it really undercuts what Urban Meyer's trying to build. What are your thoughts on that? That's all.
I think a lot of it is dead on. Yeah, it is going to be a sideshow, and yeah, people in the locker room are going to be upset about it because, unfortunately, I mean, he is going to be the 3rd, 4th, or 5th tight end. That's going to be where he's going to be at. Now, Jacksonville's tight end room is not that strong, so yeah, he might end up becoming number 2, but really, he's not going to make an impact on the field. You look at Vegas, they had his over-under for receiving yards this year at 12 yards, Martin. So that's basically 1 or 2 catches total.
Right.
So if you think you could, if you're buying in and believing in Tim Tebow, go take it out to Vegas and make you some money there, I guess. But you hear Greg McElroy's, a little bit. He has a little bit of that. What do you say? The smart aleckness in his voice, just kind of smarter than the rest of the people, and you hear that, but he's exactly right that it is going to be a distraction and it is going to be a sideshow, and it's not worth all the media attention for a 3rd, 4th, 5th string tight end. You're taking away from your Trevor Lawrence. I guess one thing you might be doing is covering up, putting the running back you drafted in the 1st round out at wide receiver for rookie minicamp. So I don't know. I think it really, it helps Urban Meyer in a way. Maybe he's bringing him in for the old Florida trick. You use Urban Meyer, you use Tim Tebow to kind of serve as that media shield and cover up any bad decisions that you may make.
You just nailed a couple things. Remember, Joe, he's not the quarterback. And one thing that is an absolute no-no is you do not want the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th team quarterback getting more coverage than the quarterback if it's about quarterback, right? You don't want that. But he's a tight end who will take away the media scrutiny in some of what he's trying to do with his young quarterback. So it actually may help him develop his young quarterback. And number 2 is to compare Tim Tebow, who felt like he could be the quarterback and wanted to play quarterback, to the Tim Tebow who's saying, I'm going to try this thing at tight end. Totally different. In my opinion, I don't think he's that guy he felt like he could play quarterback back then. He knows he can't now. So he may be more engaged. And I think Taysom Hill is Tim Tebow. With a coach who understands how to use him. If I had Tim Tebow, he would be doing exactly what Taysom Hill is doing. So in that sense, I think they're the same type of player. He's just a younger, more athletic version. But I say it's both and, Joe. I think it's both on point on a lot of these issues, but I also think it's G-Mac and jealousy. And as you nailed it, he is one of those people that thinks he's smarter than everyone else. and it comes through many times in his analysis of situation. Let's get Robert in real quick. Robert, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. Don't have a lot of time, so I'll toss it to you and let us hear from you, man.
Oh, okay. The biggest problem with people say the media spotlight on Tim Tebow and all that. It's the media's fault that the media spotlight keeps being on Tebow. It's not anything he's done. He's not going out there kneeling before the national anthem or doing anything to sometimes do kneel on the sideline, but he's ignoring that. That it's, keep that, but it'll be a circus, and then all the media will be on him. Whose fault is that? Is it Tebow?
No.
Or is it the media? They could easily ignore him if they chose to do so.
Right.
But they choose not to do so. And he says nothing. He's just sitting around, going out there, pushing himself in front of the camera. In the debates with my friends about Tebow, I always kept saying that he's not a good NFL quarterback. But then they constantly show me the people that are playing backup quarterback in the NFL that Tebow is better than. And I have to yield to him. I say, you're right. Tebow's better than Tebow's better than what's his name? Names you hardly even know anymore. They're playing right now. They back up, but they're still in the league.
Yeah,
and
but he wasn't going to be in the He wasn't going to be in the league because like you said, it wasn't that he necessarily did anything. Tim Tebow is the guy that's polarizing, and he's a guy that some people love to hate, and he's a guy that some people just love. And with that comes the media show. And if you're a new coach, I don't know if that's necessarily bad. The media is focused, as Joe pointed out, Robert, focused on the guy who is not going to be playing a whole lot. And while Urban Meyer's making mistakes and trying out things and doing that, it won't be as scrutinized maybe. So maybe that was part of his plan. And I do believe, and I have to let you go after this, I do believe there's a leadership factor and a familiarity with what Urban Meyer wants to do and how he wants to do it that Tim Tebow brings that will help this young Jacksonville team as he tries to implement his system. So,
all right, man. Tebow, he's polarized because people choose to hate him, but they don't have a reason to.
Right,
really,
absolutely.
I mean, it's highly unfair and it's kind of disgusting.
Well, I can tell you, people hate him. People hate him because of his faith, and that's the reality.
The rest of us then.
Whatever.
Put yourself. And the Christians in the NFL, not just him.
I know, but he maybe because he was great and he wasn't ashamed. I don't know. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. We'll pick up that conversation. All right, let's get the break here. Come back on the other side. We'll catch up with Scotty Hollins, Johnson and Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks, traffic moving well. The interstate looks good to Birmingham. Now we do see some slow traffic McFarland westbound between 2059 and Hargrove. If you see other conditions, give us a call. Other dealers may be out of inventory, but Townsend Nissan has an awesome selection. And yes, they really want your trade. Townsend Nissan, I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa
election to fill the vacant District 7 seat. It will be conducted on Tuesday, July 20th. Qualifying will be June 3rd through June the 15th, though Cassius Lanier, their candidate, can qualify. The 25-vote margin election win by Lanier over in March was vacated by federal judge.
Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 888-236-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. In a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Go to babbel.com today. That's BABB.com.
The lowest prices of the season are back this Thursday to Sunday only at JCPenney. Hurry to score thousands of deals on brands you love. Shop select Home Expressions bath towels for just $3.88. Women's St. John's Bay tees for just $6.88. And men's St. John's Bay polos for $9.88. And the prices are so low, there's no coupon needed. Celebrate a summer of savings with JCPenney. Offers valid 5/20 through 5/23. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Sorry to interrupt your jams, murder mystery podcasts, or motivational beach noises, but we got something else you might like to hear. It's called cash. That's the sound of an extra $250 after your first 10 deliveries with Uber Eats. That's right, an extra $250 on top of all the other cash you'll make during those first 10 deliveries. If that sounds good, visit t.uber.com/extra250. Uber Eats, deliver with us. Limited time offer, terms apply. See t.uber.com/extra250 for more details.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's now time for our weekly catch-up with Scotty, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, presented by Johnson & Marshall Dentistry. Check out dentisttuscaloosa.com. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Martin, I'm doing fantastic, and how are you?
Hey, kind of short on time. I apologize for that. Went a little long in the last segment, but want to get it to you so you can take 4 or 5 minutes and encourage us how we can incorporate our faith into our chosen field of the play, whether it's the boardroom, the classroom, or wherever we may find ourselves today.
Absolutely. Hey, well, listen, we've been talking about how to finish strong, and we're actually beyond that series. That took us a good bit to get through, and every time I'm walking through something that I'm sharing with you guys, I'm learning so much. So I really enjoyed all the lessons that I learned. Hopefully you guys learned something as well. But I want to continue that a little bit, but in a different place. Looking at the book of Philippians, I want to also just continue to think through how do we finish strong, or what are some of those areas that we need to potentially get under control, or to have a plan for. And one that I think that affects all of us at some time or another, or let's say has affected all of us at some time or another, but I think it really affects us still currently at different times, depending on what you're going through, is anxiety. And so looking at the letter from to the church at Philippi, he gives them some instructions on how to handle anxiety. Now, here's the pretty cool thing. Paul is writing this letter from prison, and he's writing to encourage this group of believers in Philippi. And so I want you to think about this. Even as you hear these words, his plan for how to deal with and how to face and how to fight anxiety, I want you to hear those words from a guy who's sitting in prison, and he's in prison for telling people about Jesus. And so to hear that, I think knowing where that message is coming from gives it that much more power. Here's his encouragement. Philippians 4, 6, and 7. He says, do not be anxious about anything. Now, Martin, did he say do not be anxious about something?
Nope. Any.
Did he say do not be anxious about most things?
Nope.
He says do not be anxious about anything. I love absolute. Don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, another absolute, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. He says, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. And so he's telling us, whenever you feel that urge to worry, and it comes often if we're honest, whenever you feel that urge to worry about a situation, about somebody, or about a circumstance or about some adversity or about just something that's out of your control, he's telling us, let that be almost like a smoke alarm in your mind that triggers you to pray. And he's saying, don't worry about anything. So when you feel yourself worrying, then now you have a plan. You know what to do. You pray about everything. And he says, and when you pray, trust God, and then the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. Like, that is awesome. Now, I want to give you one little takeaway here. Guys, when we find ourselves worrying, a lot of times it comes from us meditating on the struggle, on the adversity, on the obstacle. And we're spending our time focused on that. He's telling us, get your mind off of that and get your mind on the creator of all things and the one who is much bigger than that circumstance.
And I'll close with Thanksgiving. It's hard to worry about what you're thankful for because you believe you've already received it. And that changes your attitude. So, Scotty, tell our listeners real quick where they can find you, sir.
Absolutely. www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there and come straight to my email.
All right. That's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, presented by Johnson & Marshall Dentistry. Thanks, Scotty. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you, man.
All right. Hey, remember this. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths and order your steps. Be thankful in all things and stress-free in all the others as well. That's Martin. I'm Martin Houston. That's Joe Cather. That was Scotty Hollins. Thank you all the callers, listeners, and viewers for this edition of the Martin Houston Show. We'll catch you on tomorrow as we'll catch up with some recruiting news with @HankSouth247. Thanks and have a blessed day. Roll Tide, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.